What's up everyone, welcome to FilmSpot, and today we will be talking about the best upcoming movies. Director Julius Onah shares details about Captain America 4, which is currently in pre-production and will start filming in early 2023. Since the Infinity Saga concluded, Marvel Studios have been busy fleshing out the larger Marvel Cinematic Universe with both new superheroes from the comics and progressing some older characters. As Steve Rogers' story ended in Avengers Endgame, the mantle was passed on to Sam Wilson, setting him up to carry the Captain America title. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier focused on Sam coming to terms with continuing Steve's legacy, which came to fruition in the Season 1 finale when he finally came out to the world as the new Captain America. While the Falcon and the Winter Soldier may not be back for Season 2, Sam's path as Captain America has barely begun. As Phase 4 is coming to an end, 2023 will launch Phase 5 as part of Marvel Studios' Multiverse Saga, which will include Captain America: New World Order. Written by the Falcon and the Winter Soldier's Malcolm Spellman and Dallin Musson, the exact plot for Captain America: New World Order has yet to be revealed by Marvel Studios. During an interview with Collider at the D23 Expo, director Onah spoke about the Captain America sequel, which is currently in pre-production. While there are still many parts left that need to be completed, Onah confirmed that they begin shooting at the top of next year and expressed his excitement at the progress made. Thunderbolts star David Harbour is teasing how the Marvel Cinematic Universe group of anti-heroes and villains will be forming in the upcoming team-up movie. The film was officially announced by Marvel at this year's San Diego Comic-Con, with the studio then confirming the roster of its team members at the D23 Expo. Thunderbolts will feature returning MCU actors Harbour as Red Guardian, Florence Pugh as Yelena Belova, Sebastian Stan as Winter Soldier, Wyatt Russell as U.S. Agent, Hannah John Kamen as Ghost, Olga Kurilenko as Taskmaster, and Julia Louis-Dreyfus as Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. With a July 2024 release date, Thunderbolts will be the final film in the MCU's Phase 5 film and TV slate. However, Marvel has been teasing the Thunderbolts team for years. Louis-Dreyfus has made appearances in Black Widow and the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. She's already sent Yelena to kill Hawkeye and recruited U.S. Agent to her cause, making her the likely leader of the Thunderbolts, at least in the MCU. The comic version of the team was originally formed by Baron Zemo, who has not been announced for the film, and another iteration of the Thunderbolts became the Dark Avengers, led by Norman Osborn following the Secret Invasion event. Given that the Thunderbolts movie can't simply follow the same formula of the Avengers coming together, there are going to have to be some surprises in the film. As the movie was only recently announced, details are still limited. However, Harbour was asked by comicbook.com how the team would be forming. The fun, as Harbour mentions it, will likely come out of the clashing personalities of the team. While most of the announced members of the Thunderbolts have reformed in some way, it's still a group of characters with morally dubious pasts. A team like this should not be able to function together, and the fun will come out of seeing how they inevitably overcome that. While the premise of Thunderbolts is similar to Suicide Squad, there are key differences between the two. For example, an advantage Thunderbolts has over Suicide Squad is that all of the characters have already been introduced to the MCU and are known by audiences. The movie doesn't have to bog itself down in exposition and can instead focus on making the moment the team comes together as fun and unique as possible. As Harbour suggests, the chaotic nature of all of these characters uniting is going to be the draw of the movie. Two things were clear as soon as Spider-Man: No Way Home premiered last December. First, No Way Home was easily the most exciting Spider-Man movie ever made. And second, while Andrew Garfield was playing a supporting role, he was also one of the highlights of the film. Soon after, we saw rumors claiming that Sony was planning to make The Amazing Spider-Man 3 that Garfield never got to make during his tenure as Spider-Man. Those rumors are back, as The Amazing Spider-Man 3 appeared in a list of purported movies from Sony's Spider-Man universe. That Sony is making other movies involving the Spider-Man universe is not a surprise. That's why we have the Venom franchise, which also intersects with the MCU. It's also why we have to tolerate hurried projects like Morbius. Whether Garfield gets his Amazing Spider-Man 3, we will surely see another Venom sequel, and Morbius 2 isn't out of the question, especially considering how the first movie ended. Then we have confirmed projects like Kraven the Hunter and Madam Web that will further expand the SSU. And let's not forget about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, the animated sequel that will hopefully be as amazing as the first movie. As you can see, all these three films have 2023 release dates. Then Sony will release the third movie in the Spider-Verse series on March 29, 2024, titled Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse. On top of that, we know that Marvel and Sony are working on the next MCU Spider-Man film. Spider-Man 4 will be a sort of reboot for the character, assuming it's a Tom Holland story, and Tom Holland should appear in a different MCU crossover in the near future. That's all confirmed at this point. There are rumors that Marvel also wants to bring Spider-Woman to the MCU with Sony's help. Whatever the cause, we do have a tentative release date for an unannounced Sony/Marvel project, July 12, 2024. With that in mind, seeing The Amazing Spider-Man 3 in the list makes sense, as do the titles that are reportedly in the works. The titles include El Muerto, Madam Web, Kraven the Hunter, Sandman and Rhino, The Amazing Spider-Man 3, Morbius 2, Spider-Geddon, and Venom 3. We don't have confirmations for the time being, other than the titles we've discussed. But the list also contains a few surprise projects that we don't necessarily expect, like Sandman and Rhino. We will point out that the alternate realities that Sony's SSU is focusing on do not have a Spider-Man. It can't be Tom Holland, who is part of the MCU reality. Andrew Garfield is therefore an option. The Amazing Spider-Man 3 is easily one of the most exciting titles on that list. However, the leak doesn't mention any release dates, and we don't expect Andrew Garfield to confirm the sequel anytime soon. On the heels of production wrapping for the sequel, Brie Larson has shared a crucial update on her mystery Fast X character in the form of her name. Fast X is the upcoming second-to-last installment of the Fast and Furious franchise. While filming began in April of this year, very few concrete details about the story have been released. In May of this year, Diesel shared that Larson would be a new addition to the Fast and Furious cast, wishing her a warm welcome to the Fast and Furious family. Since then, the Academy Award-winning actress, known for her work in Captain Marvel and Room, has taken to Instagram to share BTS photos of her work in Fast X, including a birthday shout-out for Diesel featuring a picture of him and Larson on set. None of the photos she's shared have revealed any hints about her character, until now. This past week saw Brie Larson take to Instagram to let fans in on a crucial detail about Fast X. Larson's character is named Tess. The photo depicts a smiling Larson next to her trailer, which is labeled 13, Tess. And in case anyone had any doubts that Tess was in fact her character's name, Larson's caption reads, "Name reveal." Of course, a name reveal doesn't say much about who Brie Larson's Fast X character actually is. Regardless, fans are glad to have any piece of information to fuel the speculation that's been going on since it was first announced Larson would be joining the cast. For example, there's been a theory circulating that Tess is actually Brian O'Connor's sister. Brian was played by the late Paul Walker, whose presence has been deeply missed by the cast, crew, and fans of the Fast and Furious movies. If that turns out to be true, then Larson's character's full name would be Tess O'Connor. Even before she was cast in the movie, Larson was a huge fan of all the Fast and Furious movies. Earlier this year, Larson shared her love for the franchise in an interview just prior to her Fast X casting a few months later. This chain of events indicates that some online theories about Fast X have actually come true. To see if Tess really is Brian's sister, or if any of the other theories about Larson's character end up being right, audiences will have to wait until May 2023, when Fast X is released in theaters, or at least until the first trailer comes out. Disney has dated a new MCU film for release in 2024 that will alter its Phase 5 to Phase 6 transition point. After a year of speculation, Marvel Studios laid out its overall plan for Phases 4 through 6, which have been officially titled the Multiverse Saga. The Multiverse Saga will culminate in the release of 2 Avengers films in 2025, The Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Marvel set a number of release dates for previously announced films, including Blade, Fantastic Four, Captain America: New World Order, and Thunderbolts. However, during the announcements at San Diego Comic-Con and the D23 Expo, Marvel did not reveal a title for the film on their schedule slated for release on February 16, 2024, which would come between Blade and Captain America: New World Order. It appears now that the release date has changed and may have altered some of Phase 5 and 6 plans. As part of new release date announcements, Disney confirmed Marvel Studios has set a new release date for an untitled film from February 16, 2024 to a new date of September 6, 2024. The new release date now sets it between Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four. Thunderbolts is currently scheduled to release in theaters on July 26, 2024, while Fantastic Four opens in theaters just 4 months later on November 8, 2024. At San Diego Comic-Con 2022, Kevin Feige confirmed that Thunderbolts would mark the end of Phase 5, while Fantastic Four would be the beginning of Phase 6. This new film placement, however, between the two movies now makes it either the end of Phase 5 or the beginning of Phase 6. With the pedigree of the Fantastic Four, it is likely that will remain the start of Phase 6, and the new film will be the end of Phase 5, and a small palate cleanser similar to Ant-Man concluding Phase 2, or Spider-Man Far From Home being the true end of Phase 3. What the untitled film is remains to be seen. A natural assumption is a sequel to Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, but with that film's director, Destin Daniel Cretton, signed on to direct Avengers: The Kang Dynasty, which opens in theaters on May 2nd, 2025, it seems unlikely, unless Marvel Studios chose a different director to take over the Shang-Chi franchise. Marvel Studios has officially signed Sean Levy to direct Deadpool 3, while Patton Oswalt has indicated Eternals 2 is in development, so the release date could go to either film. Whichever film does get the release date, it will need to work as a good transition for the MCU between Phases 5 and 6. Marvel Studios' upcoming Fantastic Four reboot has found its screenwriters as the MCU prepares to introduce the iconic family of heroes. Ever since Disney acquired the 20th Century Fox, fans have eagerly been waiting to see the MCU finally introduce the X-Men and the Fantastic Four, two properties that Marvel Studios had to sell when it went bankrupt. While the franchise has slowly introduced mutants, the Fantastic Four are still waiting to get brought into the MCU. While Fantastic Four was initially slated to come out at the end of Phase 4, the project got delayed, partially because of the global pandemic, but also due to director Jon Watts exiting the project. With this being one of the biggest IPs in the whole Marvel brand, the studio has been taking its time to get things right by slating it for Phase 6 in 2024. Even though John Krasinski appeared as a Mr. Fantastic variant in Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, the cameo was more fan service than setting up the reboot. Barely a month after Matt Shakman was tapped to helm the Fantastic Four reboot, the movie has found its writers. Deadline reports that Jeff Kaplan and Ian Springer are writing the film and have apparently been involved with it for some time before Shakman even got the directing gig. The report also revealed that Kaplan and Springer have been outlining with Kevin Feige where Fantastic Four would fit into the MCU, but will now work together with Shakman to complete the vision. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.